Good day. My name is Professor Oliver, and you've joined me for another lesson in writing for English 030 and 101. Today's discussion will focus on the thoughtful thesis. We need to learn how to write with purpose so that our essays that we write for classes are focused, very, very well written, and do what they need to do, which is ultimately to achieve the goals that we've promised for our readers. So, what is a thesis? A thesis is a statement of purpose for writing that gives readers an understanding of the focus of the essay. It also helps to provide the attitude that you have towards your particular topic and perhaps even the elements or the specific aspects of that topic that will be discussed within your paper. Thesis statements help to plan our essays, and so if you know ultimately what your essay is attempting to prove or show, you have the foundations for a wonderful thesis statement. So there are just two parts of a very general thesis statement, and I want to explain them and how they work to you so that you can understand how you can make a well-constructed thesis statement successful in your essay. So the first part of a thesis is the actual thesis idea. Whatever it is that you're focusing on, your topic in your particular essay, and the controlling idea that you have toward that particular topic. So when you're thinking about thesis and controlling idea, the thesis idea, you have to kind of ask yourself the question, what do I want my readers to do, think, buy, believe, see? And so if you can answer that for yourself, then it's very easy to develop a controlling idea that works and that's solid so that you know that you have something that is indeed provable or arguable within the context of your writing. You also need to have an essay map. And the essay map is essentially just a list of the specific elements that you're going to be discussing in your paper. And we'll talk about how that works within the construct of a thesis statement when you put those two things together. But ultimately, when you're thinking of essay map, you have to think about what a map actually does, and that is tell us directions. Where am I going after this point? So, what is the topic? The topic essentially answers the question, what am I writing about? So if I'm, for example, writing about skateboarding, then my topic for writing is skateboarding. But that's going to be way too broad. I can't just write an essay, a 3 to 5 page essay on skateboarding because I really don't have all day. So I've got to get a little bit more specific as I develop that. So first of all, I'm writing about skateboarding, but I got to think about my controlling idea, my attitude towards skateboarding. So what am I thinking about skateboarding? Well, we should do it. So when you're thinking about controlling ideas, you have to answer the question, what do I want my readers to think or do about this? Again, what do I want them to think, do, buy, believe, see, whatever the case happens to be. But I want my readers to follow along with the attitude that I've developed toward my particular topic. Your essay map, on the other hand, it can be either general or specific, but again, a map tells us where we are going to go after each specific point. So when you're thinking about your essay map, you have to recognize that it is just a list that helps to guide us through your discussion. So you're letting your reader know exactly which specific elements or exactly which general elements you're going to focus on in your discussion. So if I want readers to know that I like skateboarding and I think that they should do it, and what do I think that they should do with skateboarding, I've essentially all the parts that I need to develop an appropriate and successful thesis idea plus essay map. So I could tell my readers in the writing, everyone should try skateboarding at least once in their lives because it's a fun, exhilarating, and easy way to burn calories all summer long. Okay, so I have a thesis idea, I have a controlling idea about it, I want you to do it, it's positive, and I've given you some reasons or some specific essay map elements for why I think that's a good idea. If you have a very general thesis essay map, then you can help to explore other aspects of your particular issue. And so I do want you to recognize that there are very general ways to say some things, and there are very specific ways to say those very same things. So you don't always have to think about thesis statements as being just these super duper specific things that you always have to pinpoint exactly how many elements you're going to write about. You do have to do that if you're writing a very short essay, such as with our construct of the 5-paragraph essay, which we're going to talk about later. But just generally, if you want to keep your essay map items very general, less specific, you can actually get a much larger paper out of it, because in that particular scenario, several things may fall under that general umbrella. And we'll look at an example of that in just a moment. Specifically though, you will look at specific thesis essay map elements, because you actually are then providing your readers with a list of the things that you're going to discuss. So to be very specific means that you are guiding your readers in a very focused and very purposeful manner. When you have a specific thesis statement and specific essay map items, then you're almost actually guiding our readers' understanding of your organization of the text. And so those are very positive things when you're thinking about whether or not you're going to choose a general or specific thesis statement essay map. So let's look at one example. People must make recycling a priority, because if we don't, generations to come will have to deal with the environmental hazards and waste management problems we have left behind. Well, if this is a thesis statement, first of all, let's see if we can point out the parts. So, people must make recycling a priority. Well, we know that we're discussing recycling, so we have our topic, okay? Then, that notion of the attitude or controlling idea, we must make it a priority. So you're telling us what to do, think, buy, believe, see. Remember, you're controlling your readers' ideas. That's what a controlling idea does. You are leading us along by the nose so that we know what to think. So people must make recycling our priority. So we have our thesis idea, our topic plus our controlling idea combined. Because if we don't, generations to come will have to deal with the environmental hazards and waste management problems we have left behind. Well, if you're looking for some very general essay map items, then we have environmental hazards and waste management problems. And the reason that we call these general is because there are many ways to think about environmental hazards. You've got air pollution, water pollution, ground pollution, right? And so out of this one very general notion of environmental hazards, we can come up with several specific ones. So I could put in a paragraph or two about air pollution, a paragraph or two about water pollution, a paragraph or two about ground pollution. And so then having a very general statement allows my paper to grow. And this is going to be a much longer paper than just your standard 5-paragraph one. The same thing holds true for waste management problems. You've got pollution, you've got overflowing landfills, you've got decomposition, you've got all these things that fall under the very general umbrella of waste management problems. So in constructing a general thesis statement, I have the potential to write a much longer paper. That's a great thing. No need to be intimidated by that. A specific essay map, on the other hand, allows us to guide our readers in a very purposeful way. So, if we look at this particular example of a thesis, we can see that we are now focusing on specific aspects and we're not allowed to venture off in any way. We don't have as much room for possibilities with this type of thesis statement. So, if people don't make recycling a part of their daily lives, our future generations will be left with a dismal legacy of air pollution, toxic waste, and limited food supplies as a result of our negligence. So if this particular statement is our thesis statement, well, we already again know that recycling, making recycling a part of our daily lives is the topic, recycling. And we know that this person wants us to make it a part. So we have our controlling idea. So we have a thesis idea, topic of it, recycling, and you must make it. So that's our controlling idea. Then we have our issues with our essay map. Air pollution, toxic waste, and limited food supplies. So we know that this reader, this writer, in order is going to discuss air pollution, toxic waste, and limited food supplies. If you do this specifically and list each and every aspect that's going to be covered in your essay, it doesn't allow your readers to venture off, and it doesn't allow you as a writer to get too far afield of your original target, which is to discuss these three things. And so this type of thesis statement is very good for a short paper like the 5-paragraph, because it again not only lists them but also numbers them or enumerates them so that you cannot venture off and make this particular discussion too broad or have too large of a scope. And so I do also want to point out that even though it's not necessarily using the same language, it's still telling us that people should, right? Giving us a controlling idea. And then we have our notion of the reasons, those elements that have been covered in the essay map. So people should do this because, okay? So let's review. Today we've learned about the role of a thesis statement and how it functions within our essays. Essentially, it's there to guide your readers so that they know the promises that you've made to them and what you're going to cover as you fulfill those promises. We also have learned about the parts of a thesis, that the thesis itself has two very general parts, but those parts combined help to make a cohesive, coherent thesis statement. And then finally, we understand how thesis statements can help our essays. They help our essays to stay organized, they help us as writers to stay focused, and they also help to understand what it is that we have set as far as goals for ourselves. And so, in doing so, thesis statements are great. They are the most important part of writing any academic essay, and in fact, anything that we write at all. And so I want you to remember that if you have a good thesis statement, ultimately you have the foundations of very good writing. This has been another lesson in writing for Professor Oliver. If you have any questions, please see me in class. Thank you.